Hello everyone and welcome to yet another live coding and chill. I'm your host Johnny, delighted to be here. Hope you're having amazing weeks. I hope you've had an amazing week, weekdays in particular, and now you're gonna have an amazing weekend. Today we'll keep building on our trivia pub quiz style app, Trivia Train, and crucially, we'll enable some sharing functionalities to help this app go viral, because even Wordle wouldn't have gone so viral and be everywhere and be one of the best puzzles ever created if there wasn't that share option at the end when you've played and you can share the boxes that, oh, I have these, I started with like one yellow square and then I got like two green squares and whatever. And everyone was starting their friends, their group chats, Discord communities rose up from this. That was crucial in getting the word out that Wordle is a cool game, people are playing it, and I can kind of see how they did, and I want to do better. So we'll get that idea. I don't think we'll ever go as viral as Wordle for sure, but having your app be easily shareable, making it easy for people to say, this was cool, I had a good time, share it with others, and then the others seeing something that looks cool and inviting and gets them to click through and actually play them themselves, that's crucial. I always say, like I've been saying for like maybe the past year, 2 years, that the SEO experts remain the same. They keep saying the same things. They half know or half guess from 10 years ago. But the reality is the shareability of your app is super important for it to take off. The real SEO nowadays is I shared this webpage on like Threads or Twitter or Discord or wherever else, and did it have a cool icon? Did people click through? Did they go there? Did they share it to others? Did they keep sharing this link to others? That's the most crucial part, which doesn't directly have any relation to the things that your webpage has in, but with the things that we'll show today, like the share API, your website, your web app can affect how people share your app. So keep that in mind. The SEO game has changed. It's going to change even more now in the age of LLMs and all of that. But SEO experts, don't listen to them. Do the things that actually work. Think if you've played any games and they had like a little share button in the end. Did you use it? Did you ever click through when a friend shares something like this? Did you not click through when they didn't provide a link? Did you not click through when they provided a link and it was just like an ugly URL? And validate for yourself whether I'm giving good advice or not. In any case, I think I'm giving good advice, stroking my own beard and patting myself in the back. This has worked for me before and for clients and consult. So let's demystify it. There are links in the descriptions, as always, in all the descriptions of my videos, where you can click around and see the real apps that we've built here. And you can go to trivia-train.flight.dev to play this app we have created. It has a new quiz themed around the Odyssey, the epic, literally an epic poem from many, many years ago, hundreds, thousands of years ago, that I particularly love because I have some connection to the Greek island that the Odysseus is from as well. But that's by the by. By the end of the episode, we're also gonna get a top level domain to put this up in. We're gonna use triviatrain.app. So if you're watching this on the future, just go there. I'll have updated the link in the description as well. We're doing this because someone did convert to JOHNNIFY Premium since the last stream, and they got all of the code that we're doing that exists in a private GitHub repo, along with all the code we've ever done in that private GitHub organization, and allowed me to just buy this domain and indulge myself into also showing how do you set up a top level domain with Fly.io. We're using Fly to deploy this to. We've shown how to do this with Vercel. For example, today we'll show how to set up a domain, a top level domain for your app to exist besides the ones that Fly gives you for free. So this is the agenda for today. I'm gonna focus on that one. And it's kind of light, but that's what I thought last time, and we went for 4 hours. So we'll see how well we do today. Let me know in the chat what we're working on. Are you excited for anything this weekend? Doesn't have to be code related, work related. It could be anything. Maybe the sun is finally coming out. Maybe you're going to the beach. Maybe you are from the other hemisphere that I'm on and winter is coming and you are rewatching Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon or whatever. Let me know what you're up to. So today, what we will be doing is, by the end of the stream, I would say that at the end of the game, you will be able to either get a dialogue alert or pop-up, or instead of seeing the answer form, you'd see share this game, like share how you did to friends, and then we'll have the share API there. But for the start of the stream, to get things faster, I think we'll just put a button at the end that says share. And that's about it. You're gonna extend it quite quickly. First, we're gonna use the native share API, which if you're on a mobile device, for example, if you're on iOS, it will bring up the share sheet. Sometimes it's called like that, which gives you all the options on where you'd like to share this. You can even copy the link, or you can directly WhatsApp or Telegram or messages or Discord people using that. So native to the OS you're working with would work with Android as well, but wouldn't work with desktop browsers, for example. So we'll see how we'll get around that. And we'll also specifically share to threads. I think threads is at a golden moment at the point, because they're not the market leaders there. So unlike Instagram, there are no ads. So this is the golden time to go to threads, because the other social microblogging platforms are kind of singing, have done a horrible job in the last few months. Threads has not quite hit the nail of the head, but they've been developing rapidly. They have the timing, and crucially, they have no ads. Maybe if you're watching this in the future, like a year, every 2 threads, you see like ads and there is astroturfing and whatever. But for now, I think it's the time to strike in that platform. Anyway, that's why we'll show specifically a threads button. I've wrote about a custom tweet button in the past 4 years ago, dear Lord. But today we'll show how to share to threads specifically using the intent API, with which you don't need to set up like a Meta business, a Facebook business, anything like that. So you can just do it without further setup with Meta, because some people are worried about that. The Threads API has just opened, but getting that one to work has caused some controversy that we won't go over today, unless you ask me in the chat anything that you like. And yeah, as a bonus, we will be setting up the custom domain that we just got, and eventually, only in the end, we'll probably show the share options after you finish the quiz. As always, I'm open to design suggestions as they come. Let me know what you think would be cooler to do. So let's put the timestamp of when we actually start getting to work, and let's go. The navigator, which is a global that potentially has the share method, is what we'll be using today. But in order to use that, we'll need like a button or something like that to work with. And crucially, it doesn't exist on every platform. So we've said that on desktop, for example. Currently, desktop browsers don't have anything like that, but maybe in the future they will. So the point is that we won't be able to like haphazardly just call this method and hope it goes well. We'll need to do a check there to see if that method actually exists and doesn't crash. And we'll do that with in the Svelte 5 way, because we're using Svelte 5 for this. Right, so somewhere here, just start with, just so I won't have to go through the local quiz every time. But if you don't remember, what we did last time is add confetti on correct answers here. So if I submit this, I should be seeing another confetti there, but I guess the cookies need to be cleared when it comes to local development. So 5 sides on a pentagon, bam, confetti. That was quite fun to do in the last stream. Maybe my favorite stream that we've done so far. But the point is, let's just have a share button after the form. So we are in the play route. We have this UI here. And maybe we have a whole like share section or something. Maybe we have a button here that says share. And maybe we make it its own component at some point. Maybe we do that now, actually. So let's do that. We're using SATCN for this project, which means that we've copied and pasted a few components in the source lib components UI directory as if there are like non-UI elements there. But the thing that I have done is that everything that is SATCN lives here in the UI directory, but everything that's custom that we just made for a stream or whatever, it lives outside of that. So we can have like a copy button or something, a share button. .svelte, which we use here. Hello, from the share button. Hello, Mike. It's been a while since you got the live stream live, but I always appreciate it when you leave a comment afterwards as well. It's great that you got this one. How are you? Hello from the share button is what I want to say here. And I want to use this here. So share button. And you can see here, hello from the share button. And we want to wrap this. We could wrap this in a vanilla button. And maybe we will start with, maybe not, maybe we'll just use a SATCN button that we have, which we usually bring in. So we need a script tag to bring things in. Also, Mike says, you failed at Soap interview, but you have a new one. The one that you failed, I guess, was Svelte in Python with fast API. Sorry to hear you failed. I feel I've lost count in how many interviews I have failed. It only takes one success and then you're sorted for a little while. And sometimes it goes both sides. Sometimes if you don't go well, maybe you weren't feeling the vibes in that company and that interview in particular. So I know it can be hard, but don't take it too hard. There's always more job interviews, and interviewing is a skill. The more you do, naturally you'll get better at it, especially if you try to reflect on what went well, what went badly in the last one. So if it was a particular question that maybe stumped you for a little while, then you can write down the question, come up with an answer. So if it gets asked later in another job interview, you do better as well. All the luck for the next one. I hope you get good luck for the next one you have. Right, so this is kind of close. I guess we can bring it like this. If you don't know SATCN, they have this thing where they have an index.ts file that re-exports all the Svelte components and other things from there, and therefore you can bring in many things just with a named import like this. But that's by the by. What I want, also later, I do want this to be a share button. Do I want it to look like a SATCN share button, big button? Maybe. So what do we have here? We have the outline, we have the secondary button. Maybe this one looks kind of nice, the gray one, a bit different. The ghost one doesn't look like a button, and the outline, we use it in a few different places. So I'll go with the secondary one. SATCN is the modern bootstrap now, is what Mike says. I'd say Tailwind is the modern bootstrap, but like Tailwind doesn't have like components in itself, not so complicated classes. So I can see the argument. I can see the argument for sure. Right, so what do we want to say? Do we just want to say share? What else does SATCN provide here? Is there like a size? Size, this is what I remembered with SATCN. It's like the large size. Like, can you even see the difference from the medium size? It's like 2 pixels taller. It's like, wow. Huge. So maybe what if we want like our own share button? Maybe that, I don't know. Let's just use this one for now. It has the bounciness that I like. And yeah, this page may be passing some variables. I'm sure it will be passing some variables in the future here. Maybe already it should be, I don't know. Let's just keep things simple. Share API, that's what we're talking about. We want to use that. Question from Mike, am I using transitions with OnNavigate? Yes, like, because I've set it up in that one project. So every time on every app that we've built, it's based from that. So we have beautiful transitions that go front and back as well for any one of them. Mount profile, backwards and forwards. I love that. Right. So we have this button, and the share API wants us to do something on click and then a way to share some data somewhere. And the data that we share, you can see that this one, they're not catching there because I'm trying to use it on the browser. But the data that we can pass is the URL and then the text. So that's where, if you're doing Wordle, is where you'd be passing the string of boxes and stuff. And title, non-standard. And I guess this is like the important one. Anyway, what I'm saying is that on click, we want to do something. And in Svelte 4 and before, you had on :click, like all the event handler methods were like this because Svelte was doing like its own thing. Now it's just a regular HTML. You just use an on-click method as you would if you were writing regular HTML with no frameworks, which is kind of neat. And what we want is, I guess, if navigator share, then we will be using that. To pass in a URL, which will say it's just https://example.com, and some text like trivia train. All of this we're gonna make custom, but just to start with. And right, so now I click it. I'm not calling navigator.share ever because this is not defined on this browser. So how do I even test how this works, how this looks, how it happens? Well, when you're using vite, usually we've shown that we run pnpm dev, we're using pnpm, but that doesn't matter. That actually calls, you can see here, vite dev behind the scenes. And if you pass the host option, then you're gonna expose the site as well. Besides your local host, you're gonna expose the development site on your network. So any other device that's on the same Wi-Fi should be able to visit it. And indeed, like my proper phone is the one that is looking at me. I'm using as the camera now, but I have like this backup old phone that you can see. I can see the website from there. And my hope is that when I press share, it will bring up the share seat eventually. And that's how to test whether you're doing things correctly. So we want this to be actually asynchronous. I want to double check that this is cuts in the on click. Yeah, it is passing along. So now let's see it working or not. a regular component just in case SatCN is doing something crazy here. So this the thing it's going to be bringing up is a share sheet like this, which has various friends, various platforms that you can share with, and you should be good to go. And it should work with SatCN as well. There used to be a point before HandaByte got on it, because again, Svelte 5 is on a release candidate and not in prime release. Some of the libraries are aimed at Svelte 4 and below, which had a different way to handle events. You didn't need the colon here, so you needed to do this. But now with Svelte 5, you can just do it the HTML way. And long story short, these libraries like the Bits UI library and all of those needed to be updated first to be able to handle all of the events here. So if I were to say on click just for now, I think the library has been updated, so it should be fine with just the on click. But I think that's gonna be it. They are catching the error here. It's saying here that the user must be triggering this event. I guess try catching, just calling the API and hoping it works could be a thing too. But hey, anyway, we have this thing. We want the URL to be dynamic, and we want the text potentially to be dynamic as well. So how do we expose these as props? And Mike says the transition API is magic. OP, very magical. I agree. I love it. I love it. So the share button. Let's say that we want to have some props. Maybe the URL, that makes sense. And the text to share, that also makes sense. And maybe it even has like a snippet. A Svelte snippet, which instead of slots in Svelte 5, you have snippets. So here, instead of hard coding this text, we can render the default slot is called cylinder now, which is a snippet. Sorry, apologies, it's not called a snippet. And we can render children here if we destructure all of these things from props, which we can type like so. So props, Svelte 5 thing, render the children, and now wherever I use the share button, here is where I can actually pass in the copy, share, and the copy will be there. But also the other two props that I want is the URL and the text. And here, the URL can actually, we can get it from the page store. So instead of hard coding an URL and having only one, only one URL, even if you do like preview deployments or localhost. So we know that the production URL at the moment is triviatrain.fly.dev, but in the future it will actually be triviatrain.app. Will I need to do a deployment to change this? And now actually I'm trying to share like localhost stuff or whatever this is. So how do I make this dynamic? Well, Svelte has the page store, which we've used many times before, which has the current URL, which we can just put to string, I guess, and share all of it. Or maybe we just want to share it with just the path name. So maybe we can say that we can construct the share URL here. and it may be a bit easier. And let's say that the SER URL is page URL the origin, which should be HTTPS blah blah blah, all of this, and then we can tack on the path name. Like this, and that's going to be our dynamic SER URL. And the text, maybe we can do the same thing. SER text could be the trivia train. And in the future, we can do something like with boxes, like how many questions you got right. Maybe with like a template literal. If you finish the game, we can say that the SER text is this, but it has like check marks and errors according to which questions you got like correct and wrong, which could be fun because you really want to share the result with your friend. It's not like you want to share just the page and have them play. You also want to show off how you did, or complain that oh, it was hard today, I didn't get any, and so on and so forth. So Mike says, can you pass multiple snippets in render, or one render, one snippet? As far as I know, it's one render, one snippet. So the default snippet is the one you'd use as a slot. So this one is the children, kind of like React. And you can have multiple snippets that then you can call like whatever you want. But you'd need another render block here. So you can do that, which isn't that bad. But you can't do this. That's not a real thing. It feels like there may be a way to like compose something. So I'm not sure why you'd want in the same line specifically to render many snippets, whatever. And like this wouldn't work. Besides, I guess that you don't want to type at render twice, or 5 times. But in this case as well, I'd say just allow for one child, and then that child is a more complicated component with a few things in there. But yeah, one render, one snippet. Cool. So this one should be happy so long as we give it the text. SER text. Plonk. And now this should still be working. And I guess that's it for that. So dynamic URL and text. And the cool thing about this is that you can have this button in any page. If you have a blog, you can have each one of your blog posts have the same SER button, and it will be able to accept different URLs according to the page you're on. You could theoretically, since we're using the page store here, you could have the components responsibility, the SER components responsibility to not accept a URL and just derive for itself that I'm used in this page, and therefore you want to share this page, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to magically do it for you. But that's just a consideration you may want. You could also look at the name, like the title of the document as well, to not need the SER text. But I think having the component who renders this be the one passing in the URL is a bit better. So the question by Mike is, how am I achieving a continuous talk with AI? Am I passing an array of messages or what? And the answer is that I'm faking all of this. So we are using behind the scenes the Vercel SDK, which has an example for Svelte as well, where you are able. Did they change the SDK recently? Docs, go to docs, get started. And they have a few helper methods to keep a chat going, like their use chat method. And in this case, you are supposed on the backend to pass in all the existing messages to the AI assistant that you're using, and therefore like a million tokens go by, because if you have a quest with like 10 questions and then like 10 answers and then whatever, like you start losing your money fast. So we're not doing that. What we're actually doing is storing the conversation in a cookie, storing all the questions in a cookie and the user's guesses in the same cookie as well, if they have happened. And according to the state of the cookie, we decide what we're gonna show here in the UI. And the only time that we hit ChatGPT is if the user's answer is not the one I have explicitly said is the correct answer. So I think the correct answer for this question, for example, is Centra. So if I answer this, because I've explicitly said the answer to this question is this, I just do a database call, check the question against the answer, that's it. We're not hitting ChatGPT at all. If it's a different answer, like elf, so let's say Aerith is half human, half which fantasy race, and if I say elf, at this point, this will hit ChatGPT, because I know that it's not the exact correct answer, but I want to check just in case if ChatGPT thinks that this should be a valid answer. And that helps if I want to allow for like small spelling mistakes, or if I have questions like this one, where the name of the flower girl is Aerith officially, but in the first Final Fantasy VII, the name displayed on PlayStation was Aerith, and I want to give instructions to ChatGPT to actually allow for like that little mistake, because Aerith should be valid. So even though the official answer is Aerith, then ChatGPT will know that this should also count as valid. But if it's an answer that any user has given before, so if for this exact question someone else had said Aerith, then I keep a cache of all the ChatGPT rulings, the judgments, the evaluations, should Aerith be a correct answer or not. And if I know, if I've already got an answer, then I get it from the database again. So again, I'm not asking ChatGPT. So long story short, the only thing I send to ChatGPT is a little prompt that has the question itself and what I think should be an accepted answer, or instructions to accept an answer, and then the user's answer, and have it tell me, is this a correct answer or not? And I only send these if I haven't already cached the ChatGPT response, because after ChatGPT answers, I put that in the database as well, because the database call is going to be both faster and much cheaper than hitting ChatGPT. And given the whole context of ChatGPT can lead to more natural conversations, but ChatGPT and the other models aren't that good with keeping context anyway. So I do find that this is a great use case where for ZIP you can get a great result. And yeah, so it is what you're saying, that you're JSON-ringifying the whole messages and you're passing all of this amounts, a large amount of tokens very quickly. And it's a way to do it, but like if I'm bootstrapping this startup and it's my money, then I'm not going to do it like that. I'm going to avoid it at all costs. If I have a deal and OpenAI has given me 500,000 tokens, like $500,000 worth of tokens to use in like 3 months, then I don't particularly care. So I use them up and then try to figure out an answer later. Or if it's like a funded startup or something like that, I guess you're trying to save money there. So yeah, I'd only do that if you've had a deal where whichever your model is has given you 500,000, like many tokens, millions of tokens to burn through. And I would try to avoid in any other scenario, because no one wants to burn all the tokens and just use like an app once. Like this app would be useless if I can only ask ChatGPT for an evaluation like once per user. Right. So that's my justification. What else are we doing here? So we have the share URL. We have the share button. I think that's pretty much it. Let me just say like overview. Maybe here. So we did this, we did that, like started talking about this maybe around this point. Let's see. And now I know that this is not going to work for desktop browsers. So am I even showing this button? Maybe it's not even a share button. Maybe it's like a share or something else. Like share window, share section. What would we call this? Anyway, if the share API is not available, which it shouldn't be at this point, then I want to show something else, like copy URL button. So that's the thing I'm gonna do next. Share area, what should I call this? I'm not sure. And I'm saying this because I want this share area, not share button. Question by Mike: how is my experience using Supabase locally? Is it still a bit better to me? No, it's been alpha, like sigma, whatever you want to call it, for years. I think the local experience with Supabase has been awesome for at least a year. You need to have Docker, which can be heavy, but I found that the local experience with Supabase is the one that makes me take it super seriously, and it's been the case for at least a year. But we're not using Supabase now. We're using Turso, which is very easy to use locally because it's an SQLite database. Therefore, it's very easy to like spin up instead. Unlike Supabase that has the CLI solutions that are super powerful, but they spin up like a million things, a million containers. And when you're switching around projects, that's the thing that I don't like, because they don't have an easy way to stop the containers for the other project that you're working on, unless you need to go like to that project and then Supabase stop all the containers there and go to your new project and then start all the containers there. So that one I don't like. And the auth seems confusing. Auth is always confusing. We've done streams about it. We figured it out. Like, it works now. Triggers and RPC not working. I don't know. Like, they're working for me, but I as well. I try to keep things simple, so anything that's like too fancy, I just don't use, and then live stress free. Right. So, what am I saying here? I'm saying that only mobile users should see this. Therefore, this should have some logic to say, well, if it's a desktop user, I want to show a copy URL button. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, I'm getting there. So we could derive what is share API. And that can be derived from whether you have navigator share. And then this check can be this. Well, maybe I can double check this. So maybe this is like the share button and I put it somewhere else. Yeah, I kind of like that. So let's forget this ever happened. Copy it though. So I'm thinking that I have the native share button. Let's call it native share button. And I have a share section, share options, the viral seat, not sure. The sharing is caring component. Could be an aside, I guess. So let's just make it a div. Maybe an aside. Share options. Share buttons. Who knows? But it's this that I want to be using the share button, the native share button. And it's gonna have some similar things. Let's copy all of this. But I'm gonna use that derived share API available and have an if here. So if is share API available, and I want to do something, else maybe I want to show like the copy button. And then, so this is the URL, this is the text, I can use it like this. And in here, I can use the share options component. So I'm not sure if it's gonna be taking a snippet anymore. And you can see that now that the share API is not available, I have the copy URL option. Whoa. The native share button does need something else. Maybe, maybe not. It tries to be rendered. So navigator share may be easier. Navigator share is what I want to do. And we need this to be on the browser. So if we are in the browser, and navigator share is available, that's when everything happens for us. And when I actually saw a children here, maybe that one doesn't take children. I'm not sure. Not sure. Anyway, I guess we need the copy URL button. Makes sense. You use a lot of if blocks. It gives more performance than using hidden in Tailwind, and you don't know why sinners can understand that. They make things more complicated by passing JavaScript logic into class. True. Yeah, what the compiler does in the end, like you should be using class names for this. For example, there's the class names library. That is like an example. Probably the assistant message and all of those. Where you can pass the class names helper library, you can pass strings as always, and then you can pass an object as well. The key of which is going to be all the classes you want to apply if this is true, and you're not applying them if this resolves to false. So that's an easier way than doing the thing that you're saying in the chat. For one, and for second, some things get optimized by the Svelte compiler anyway. And what's the performance benefit? Like maybe your thing is like more performant, but did you run a benchmark check? And what's the numbers there of the benchmark? Is it like 1 picosecond faster? And if their argument is your if block makes me dizzy and I don't understand it as well, I'm not more familiar with the other way, that's fair enough. Like the developer being more efficient is fair enough. Because I don't think the performance gain will be meaningful to the user. So if it's a meaningful performance improvement, sure, but there is something to be said for code to be more understandable. I think that the if-else is more understandable here, and also doesn't put things in HTML or that could be like a performance improvement. Anyway, I'm saying that for me this is more readable, but for others it could be less readable. So I'd be fine with them justifying what they're doing for readability, because other people work on the code besides me. Right, so copy URL. I think that's the thing we're trying to do here. Making a copy button using the clipboard API. And so CSS, I'm not gonna go too far into this, but when it's hidden, you can see that it doesn't change the layout of the document, which sometimes is what you want, but that's a different story. If you're doing the if-else, then it's not in the HTML, it's not anywhere, but maybe you do want this because you want to do like a trick where like it fades in when something happens, which looks cool without having those things move out of the way. I don't know, like it really depends on the use case of what you're trying to do. Right. So clipboard API, that's also a native thing. It used to be, there were some hacks that you could do to help to make the user be able to copy some text to the clipboard, but those got taken away when Flash got taken away with us. But now we do have the clipboard API that we can also use to copy something to the user's clipboard. So that's what we're gonna use today for this. The idea is I hit this button and then maybe you just copy this URL or you copy the whole thing. So the URL plus the flavor text that we're passing in. So will we do, maybe we need a directory there, like a share options component directory to put the share options component itself and the native share button. So this one doesn't do anything different. It'd be more fun if there were a switch block. Yeah, that'd be cool. I was thinking about this actually. I'm sure there is a reason why they didn't want to do it. They didn't dare. Cowards. So the idea is when I click this button, I should be able to like paste to a friend something. So let's use that. Limited availability. It's not that limited. I guess it depends on what you're trying to do. We're just trying to write, which has great support. We'll write to the clipboard and then the user can paste. And this was the hackier way to do it. Doesn't really matter. We want the right API. Do not have it. This one. This is what we want. Oh, they're writing that's text. Wow. Is this what I was claiming I was using when I wrote all about this like 4 years ago? Surely not. Navigator clip or write text. Permissions, asking permissions, says no. So did they change this? Or are they just making stuff up? Who knows? What I'm trying to say is that this button, we want to turn it into a copy button. And maybe it's similar to the native share buttons. Maybe I should have used that a lot. And what we want is to write some text to it. So if we have access to Navigator clipboard, then we want to write some text. This will allow this to be rendered server side, but then when we switch to client side, it's gonna know that this exists. Why is this native share? Yeah, it's a browser built-in. It's available like on any website. If you go to the console and you go to navigation .clipboard, that should be a thing. It's not here, so who knows? We'll see. Is it not a real thing? Am I making things up? Maybe this is the day to make things up. The share API will not be defined here, but it's going to be defined on a mobile browser, as we've shown. So you don't need to bring in any other library to use this. And if you are bringing a library, they're likely using this behind the scenes. Right. So this is the one we want to use. And only available in HTTPS. Maybe that's like the problem that we have here, but it's going to be fine. So what we want to copy here is usually something when something can only be used over HTTPS, they make the allowance that if it's localhost, then you can then you're fine and you can use it anyway. Let's see if that's the case here, as which is how I remember it. I remember it being right. So what do we want to copy? If we just copy the URL, maybe that's all we want for now. And the copy button, we want to use it in our share options. Say copy button. no variant, no nothing. Then on click, this should be copying something, and then it's like undefined. Great. But if we were passing the text in the URL, and I press the copy button, then you can see that it does copy the URL that I'm passing in. So you can see it does work. And doesn't crash when it's server-side rendered. It just switches to that thing. And I think some users get annoyed if you try to copy like too many things. Some people say, I just want the URL, I don't want for you to type in the story of your life, because I'm gonna delete it anyway. But what we are actually gonna do is write the story of our life. So what are we gonna call it? Are we gonna call copy text? And Mike says you display a toast when a copy has happened. Yeah, that's a valid use case. Thinking about this stream today, I was thinking that maybe we can do a toast, because we have a toast anyway here. So you can see you have like this toast, and you can say you copied the text. I think it looks cool, but maybe exactly because we've used this before, we'll show something else now, and we'll show some state, which is the opposite of what you'd like to do in real life. In real life, when you have an app, you want to keep redoing the same patterns that you've trained the user to expect. That feels better. But now, just to teach more things, we're gonna show something else. Right, so the text to copy can be like the text that we pass, and then the URL, and let's see how that actually looks. We can trim this, and we can derive this. All right, so let's copy the URL now. What did we copy? This. Are we not passing in any text? I guess not. Oh, we are passing this trivia train thingy. Ah, we're not using the copy text. Whoops. So use that. Plunk. So it kind of works. I guess the indentation may be a bit dodgy. Oops. Wait a minute. Maybe it's gonna make it a bit better. Yeah, that looks fine. I guess new lines also work. So if we're to do this without trimming, would that also copy the thing that we want? Yeah. So and that seems to have worked. While they're in view when there is felt. Yeah, I ask this. I've asked myself about Vue every year. The latest Vue, I think, is Vue 3, was the one I liked the most, but it still just doesn't vibe with me. Which is a shame, because I think the Vue ecosystem is amazing. Quite a lot of like courses, free content, paid content to learn Vue, but it just ain't vibing. I think the people that like Vue say that it's the best parts of Angular with the best parts of React. But I always found that it's like the worst parts of Angular with the worst parts of React. And, you know, sometimes your brain works different. It's not like, you know, it's bad. It's just that I think in a different way. That's just different. But I keep trying Vue because they have great ideas as well. It's one of those frameworks that have helped define the other frameworks that do gel with my brain better, because everything is borrowing from everything else. Anyway, so thankfully this handsome guy has written about this, and we managed to find the thing that we needed to use today. There you go, Mike. Like from copy to copied, as if I've thought about this. I had an unsend item to make it so, because the user has to know that something happened without them trying it out. So for sure, like show something to the user, show them indication that there's been success. You can use a toast. That would make perfect sense. Maybe if it's like something a bit more important than sharing a link, sharing your link, that's something that benefits you. Not sure. Like copied your password and you don't want to show the password, maybe you have a toast. But now we're going to do that trick where we're changing this to just copied. So let's see how would we do that. So we have this thing that does copy something. We want to say when they click, we want to show something to signify you've done it, man. My dude or dudette, you have copied the text. So how are we going to do this? It feels like we'll need to do like some state and some effects and timeouts and that sort of thing. And in the end, so would we actually have anything here? Probably not. Yeah, the symbol state false. That's very likely. So let's do it. Sounds reasonable and simple, so let's do it. Let's say that we have just copied state, which is false. And if just copied then we render copied. Else we render children. I've never seen this many curlies. I think it probably works. So now this works. Of course I press it, nothing happens. Because we need to switch this to true at some point, and we will do it here after we've copied the text. Just copied equals true is how you do it in Svelte. I don't know what Copilot is trying to say here. So now after we've pressed this, then it changes the text to copy. The length of the button changes, which is a bit annoying. So we'll do it. And then we need to clear it indeed. So how would we do that? There are a couple of ways to do this. We can do like an effect. Maybe effect makes sense. If just copied, set a timeout and clear the timeout. Sure. Right, Copilot got it. Does Navigator clipboard have a callback? It's an asynchronous method, but you cannot pass it like something else here. But you can do something after it's succeeded. So that's what we're doing here. We're waiting for it to succeed. So 2 seconds later, we're changing it. Let's see. That's just Copilot thinking that this is a good time. So this is an effect. SvelteKit will magically keep track of all the things that you're keeping track of here. So this state, whenever this changes, it will know to rerun this effect. It's not like React where you need to specify that this depends on this as an extra parameter or something like that. And we're saying that if this is true, set up a timeout, which will run in 2 seconds to revert this back to false, and also have a cleanup method where you're clearing the timeout you've just created if the component unbounds until then. So let's see if this works. Copied, 2 seconds later, back to copy URL. So your eyes here, bottom left on the screen, opposite of where I am. There. Here where my mouse cursor is. So copied, and then back to copy URL. And we're still putting stuff on the clipboard, so just to prove this. Now I've copied this, copy, paste here. Great. Cool. But I don't like how this changes size. So we may need to hard code this somehow. Maybe with a hidden floating something. And I like having like a little success button toast thingy. I wonder when we have like a success, we have like this icon, this success circle. Where? This is called a sonar component, and I'm wondering how does it get? Does it have them like built in, like these little icons? I guess so. What icons do we have? Ah, we have the tech, so we could use the tech. What else do we have? All of these things. Sure. Let's see, how does the tech work? So let's say, let's turn this through. Go back. And let's say that we have the check here. Tech icon. Sure. Actually, maybe this has like some extra classes. Maybe this is like flex. Cap 1. And we have this. And we could even make this, like, do we have like a success color? Don't think so. We have like the destructive color, but we don't have a success color, sadly. We should. Emerald, green. Ah, there's a green. Here. So maybe this should be our success color. Train green. Come on. Good. Make the background color 50%. So, not sure. So for the button color to be a bit more transparent, maybe. But the big thing that I want is to keep this the same width. So maybe we can just specify a width here, I guess. Or maybe it will just work. Let's see, because we have this thing, it's inside the share sheet. So if this is flex, and this copy button is grow, it will go all the way. But we know that we'll have like one more button there, so it's not gonna look that bad. And the other question is, check mark first or last? I guess on the toast we have the check mark first, so we can do the same here. but if you tell me to put the check mark last, I will. And of course, is it like a URL? Is it a URI? Who knows? Maybe it's a copy results in the end, but we'll see what we'll do. But I think that's it. So next up, should be sharing to threads specifically. So having a button alongside this, or if the share API is available alongside the share button, a specific one just for threads. You can do like Twitter or whatever you want there, or you can do nothing. But just because the threads API is like fresh in all the raids, and unlike every other microblogging framework, I do sometimes read threads. Let's see how we can get this done. So this is a tweet from earlier, from much earlier in the year, start of the year actually, because the intent API for threads has been available for a little while. And therefore, we're going to use this one as I mentioned before. I'll restart my Rumble. So threads, so hot right now. Let's see how to share to threads specifically. This is not a post from when the threads API became available. This is from earlier in the year, just for the intent API, which is great because it means we can use this without setting up a Meta for Business account, like Facebook account, whatever those things are. Maybe if you want me to show those, we can cover them in the future. But the thing that has been made available recently is a way to programmatically create posts, read some profile threads, messages, and then automate some of that, which of course will lead to an increase in bots, but an increase to like some cool automations. Maybe we'll show that in the future. None of that applies now. They have a relatively simple API, intent API, where you just do get requests with the text that you want to post, and that's it. Twitter, now known as X, I guess, has some other options that you could pass here, like the username, like the account that you're trying to mention there. But now it's just hit this threads API and pass in some text, and it will attempt to post something for you. So that's the thing that we want to do. Let's do it. Let's create a share to threads button. And now I remember that actually what I had in my example was something that said like sharing is caring, something like that, and then it gives you like the options, and maybe everything is like on its own card. Do we have a card? I guess we do have a SATSIAN card. Do I like it? Probably not. Let's see, SATSIAN card. Yeah, it wouldn't be that complicated. Maybe it does have a card and a card content. Let's see how that would look like. Oof, not SATSIAN result. No, it is similar, not that big a deal. card root, card header, card title. Will it actually look nice? Not sure. And I guess they have like card content. Yeah. Does it look nice? Not sure. Maybe not. Maybe yes. Let me know. Anyway, why am I doing all of this? Because we'll have the native share button and the copy URL, but also we'll have the other button component. Maybe we can add like another copy button here, but in actuality, it's going to be the share to threads. So that was the vision, that we'll have the copy button and then the threads button. And I can see that this grows like a bit more, even so. So maybe this is like a grid, I guess. Not that behaves. And do I need to grow this? Probably not. Yeah, so now that it's in a grid, it's fine. So the other one, instead of it being copy URL, it would be like share to threads. Would we say share to threads? Probably not. Don't know what we'd say. But we will copy that copy button and call it threads share button. Svelte. So what we'll be doing here, I guess what we will want to do is something very similar to what I was showing in this article that I'll talk more about later. And in the end, wow, like I even have tests in this. What a guy. Oh, Spider-Man. Good. Like the tags, the account, great. Well done me. I think it'd be just an href in the end, that if you click, you try to navigate there. Maybe the thing is that you have like a nofollow, like blank, open a new tab. Guess not. We'll see how it works. What an article. Right, so we have the threads share button, we'll have an icon there. When you click, you should be doing something else. I think when you click, you just go to the other URL, I suppose. So we need to figure out what the URL should be. We won't be doing anything with like fancy copy text because you're navigating somewhere else. Maybe it doesn't have children, because we'll just say threads there. And we don't have that just copied logic here. And on click, we won't be doing anything. It will just have an href that goes where. That's something I will show right after a small break. So we have this always working. We will have a button, a threads button, that when we click, it should open the threads page, a page in threads, to create a new post there and share this. But we'll do it in just a moment because my dog has been suspiciously quiet. Hello and long time no see. How are you doing? I'm doing well, thank you for asking. And we're back. What we're doing here, we've done the copy URL that we can see on the left. Maybe I'll go to the full screen already. And we'll try to make this button be something that you click and then it opens Threads, the Threads app, and you can paste directly there. I don't think, like, would we try to do the direct, if you do have the Threads app installed, would we try to get you in-app, deep link you into the app itself? Probably not, but we'll see, we'll think about it. So our share options section aside here, instead of another copy button, we want this to be the Threads share button. That takes the URL and some text, I guess. And guess it would be doing the same as the copy button. So we've wisely changed that up. So here we are deriving the copy text. Let's call it share text, just to keep people on their toes. And maybe we can derive the href as well, because it's gonna be using the share text. But I guess kinda according to this, like this is an example URL. You can see it opens like this. So the example URL is this, which I guess has the, that wasn't helpful at all, come on. Copy link to highlight. What is this? I guess that's the link. Ah, so interesting. It has the username there. It's trying to post like this. That's much crazier than I thought. This is the intent. All right, so instead of following that example, let's follow the original tweet, which says you need to go there, slash intent post text something, and I can only imagine the root is going to be threads.net. And is www? Yeah, interesting. So yeah, that can be a constant, I guess. So question is, can we also track share analytics? So that's a great question. I am using Plausible for my analytics in this app and most apps really. So it's not Google Analytics, and the difference is, like, they market themselves as a privacy friendly alternative to Google Analytics. There is a few of those which I do appreciate. You do pay something, so it's not free, but like Google, they don't make money from the things that you track in your analytics. I've used it in many projects and I find the price fair. Anyway, no matter if you use Google Analytics or anything like Plausible, I'm not logged in, or I would saw it. They have docs where you can have events. You can track events by hitting their API and saying that this event happened with this payload. So you can create a share event and use that to keep track of people sharing, and you can have a payload even saying that, oh, they clicked the copy button, or they clicked the native share button, or they clicked like the threads button. So the idea would be, I guess, when they actually click on the href, you'd have like a click handler as well, that when they click the button, it would track that event too. I try not to creepily track things that people do on my website, but if you have your terms of service, you can easily put something there saying that you use it to make the app better. So it can be done for sure, but I would say that you can do like a non-click handler in the button if it does work with the href way that we're trying now. And hello, Son, as well. we're getting up there in the chat. That's good to see. It's API intent root, which I guess is threads.net. And then you go to intent post this. So this is what we want. So we don't want this anymore. The href that we want to add is gonna be the threads API root slash intent post and text. It's gonna equal the share text. So I think that's just gonna work. Let's see. And you can see that this is a button. It's a subcn button, which means that it has some internal logic to see that if you give it an href, it's not going to be actually an HTML button. It's going to be an anchor element, and therefore you can pass it an href too. So let's see if I click here. Yeah, opens threads and has the thing that we have here. But you can see that the emoji has been lost. So I wonder. I think there may be like a better way to do this. We can encode this part, encode URI component, the share text. That may make it better. Cancel, discard. It gets me. It does get me in the same window into the Threads API. All right, so now it did manage to do the new line as before with the escaped component, but it is losing the emoji, interestingly enough. So that's pretty interesting, because if I were to do like a train here, I can only imagine it will just work. Interesting. Because I would want to be able to use emojis, because that's how Wordle works. How do I URL escape emojis? I don't want a website. I don't know how to do it. Will ChatGPT know? Or GitHub Copilot, which has been failing a lot recently. I think it's been getting worse. Anyway, another thing is that you never want the user to get out of your app. So people would never do this, like clicking a button just gets you out of your app. That your PM would scold you if you zip that feature without asking them. So usually you do the unfortunate thing where you kind of force the user to open this in a new tab. It depends on the context, because this could be a pop-up as well. Like I'd say it's fine to make it open in a new tab. I do trust the user to use a middle click on their buttons or command click, so it will open on a new tab. But like some PMs fight back on that. They're like, no one knows the middle click thing, so just force it to open in a new window. And if you want to do that, then you can specify target equals _ blank, but as a there is a security concern when you allow this to happen, which you block by also passing in RL of no opener, no referrer. And no need to talk about what is explicitly that exploit is, but you block it by also passing in this rel tag there. So that's what we'll do, because I guess we'll also assume that our users don't have access to a middle button. For example, if they're doing it in on a mobile device, they won't like long press and choose to open a new tab, because I know I never do that. And if I do that, surely at least one other person would be doing something like that. And therefore, I guess I can pass in these extra options. And now when I try to search to threads, it does open in a new tab. Cool. So, Copilot, why? No, maybe not. Oh, it's spelled derived is not a valid way to create derived store. So a big problem with Copilot is that it doesn't know what's recent and what's modern Svelte, and it doesn't know about Svelte 5. Most of its Svelte content is like from 4 years ago. So it doesn't really know how to do anything. And therefore, it will give you things that aren't really true. Svelte reactive. Does it now know? Anyway, doesn't matter. The thing that I will try is derived by. So let's try something new. Sometimes you want like something more complicated to happen, which I will say that it's this, and you can use the derived by callback method that in the end returns something. So you can have like multiple steps here, and then in the end you return what you want. So why am I doing this? I'm doing this because I want to create a new URL, SEO URL, which is going to be new URL this. And then in the SEO URL set params, I want to set text, SEO text, which should encode the URL component the same way, but I do like the explicitness of this, and that you just set up set. Like you, if we want to set, if they provide more parameters to share here later, like profile or username or something, it's easier to just add one more line here. But my big question is, does somehow adding the search param like this encode the emoji better? Not sure. Let's find out. Answer is no. How else can I encode this emoji? Who knows? One more chance for Copilot to say something correct. Yeah, code URL component doesn't really work. Sorry. I don't think we'll find anything. It's URL encoded string, but the problem is that it doesn't understand emojis. Just want to see what it is. So yeah, this emoji is crazy. Milo is saying you're using the cursor editor, and it gives links to Svelte 5 docs. You've been using Sonnet 3.5, which I have heard great things about, but I've heard that the tokens run out quickly. Keep in mind that there are some cool things that Svelte has done in how they've defined their components and libraries. So even in VS Code, like you'll see that you have some doc-looking things when you hover over stuff, and it's not specifically the editor, it's that they've done the work to define these for them. So you have like the little link here. I think Handabyte actually made a very interesting video recently on the add component like hidden feature.
What's up, everybody? Today we're going to be learning about.
I'll just sort out here, I guess. Svelte has been hiding something. So have a look at that one. Like at the end of any component that you define, you can add an add component like documentation style, and then editors like Cursor and VS Code will be highlighting to that part of the code, so you can have like examples there. It's quite cool, but it's not editor specific. It's that people have done the work to link helpful to document their components well. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So this is what you can do. You pretty much add a comment at the end, and the editor is gonna read how this is supposed to work. So great video there, quick video. You can have a look at that one. But I will try Cursor for sure too. I think the biggest problem with Copilot and all the LLMs is that most of the data that they have is from years and years ago. They have a hard cutoff that can be a few months ago, which is not bad. But most of the data they're digesting is from ages ago. It's not like current documentation. So it can lead to some arguments with the Copilot saying, but no. And especially when it happens with GitHub workflow actions, that I get so upset, because you'd think GitHub VS Code Copilot, VS Code by Microsoft, trying to debug something on GitHub also by Microsoft, the integration would be great. But still, I need to convince it, and I cannot, that GitHub has this concept of vars in the context. Anyway, and no, you don't sound like you're paid. I think I'm the same. Like I just keep showing things that I think are exciting and are helpful, and I get passionate about them because I want to help other people use cool tools as well. So don't worry about that. If you're that excited about it, I'll definitely try it for sure. Right, so what am I saying here? I'm saying that the escaping of the emoji is insane. Why is it escaping it so badly? Is there any option I can pass? I guess not. Ah, and I also wanted to see. Oh no. I also wanted to see, like here we have the text is all of this craziness, and then there is a new line somewhere, but here, if I just had the train, I just had the train emoji, yeah, it still won't show. Interesting. Oh well, maybe that's something they are kind of escaping. Though I don't know how, because they do have like Unicode for this one. So not sure, but we've been at it for a while. I think we should move on with our lives, and maybe just add like a threads icon and call it section. Right, so we have the copy URL, which does copy things correctly, like the emoji is fine. We have the threads button, which does share to threads. It's just the annoyance is that we're losing the emoji there, but that's fine. Let's go to Johnnyfy. Do they have a threads icon? They do. This one, this @ sign, it's, I guess, kind of looking like a thread being spun. Neat. svt, paste the markup. Copy it, but I'll copy it again because I'll go to all of these icons, copy any one, copy threads, copy this again, keep the rest props, keep this, and then boom. And this is part of a group, which I don't think you need. You can make it be part of the SVT. And is this still none? I guess so. And go to the thread share button and say that actually we want the threads icon here. There you go. Right, so we have this, which should transform when someone is using it on their phones. And we have the threads icon too, which opens a direct share to threads. Sadly, this happens. Oh well. Oh well. Also at this point you could have the event for tracking whether they've pressed the button here, so in this method, and not the derive by method. Maybe not. Maybe not. A non-click here would be fine. Cool. I think that's it. I think what remains, well, I'll go over this article again that I wrote 4 years ago, apparently, 2020. Wow. And people still go to it about doing have custom tweet CTA on your Next.js app specifically. So there is some Next.js specific magic there. If you don't know, my website is on magripis.com. You can go there. It has some testimonials. There's quite a lot of things. All the pictures are by me. Hey, this is the avatar of my channel as well. But a few blog posts. It's been a while. The one custom tweet CTA. Where was I for this? This may be from like Barbados or something. Could be from Brazil. Maybe from Brazil. Not sure. Anyway, the cool thing with MDX is that you can have inline the examples that you're talking about. So here is where we had the copy link. Link is better. And I had the link icon as well to make it more obvious. So that's a good idea. Maybe that's the thing I should do again. So the copy button. Let's say copy link, because people understand link better. And I guess instead of Twitter, we say tweet, which makes sense. Like it would be fun if I said tweet and the icon is threads. I think that would be good pants. But maybe that's not what we'll do now. Do I have like a link icon? Maybe that's the thing we're missing. No link. Yeah, let's do the same. Let's create a link icon. Same link. That's because we have link components as well, very likely. And we can go to JOHNNIFY again, search for link. Let's pick it from Material UI, like this one this time, and paste it, copy it, paste it. And now the copy icon. So should this should this take children? Maybe not. Maybe the answer is no. Kinda like it. It's cute. So here, let's say that this doesn't take children after all. Marina, welcome here. My dog came to say hi and sleep next to me this time. Right, so copy link, threads still works good. Anything else? My cleverer self from the past has said, like, quite a lot of memes, meme-based blogging, and even on how you could test this. Pretty cool. With Cypress back then, Playwright wasn't a thing, really. Playwright really upped their game at some point. And maybe 2 years ago, cleanly overtook Cypress, even though I do like Cypress UI even now more than Playwright. So the copy URL, we did all of this. Intended API, we just did it, but we did Threads API. You can do something similar. And you can see how they have more things you can add in the Twitter API. Even back then, you can add hashtags, you can add the Twitter account to associate people with. Maybe in Threads, they'll add it at some point as well. Cool. Zif's so nice, I did it twice. And on every blog post, I actually do have this as well. Does this still work? Yeah, Vyatsema Kripis, that's me. Cool. Is there something? Interestingly, I didn't make it open in a new tab here. So I have more faith in the users of my blog, of magripis.com, that they know how to open things in new tabs, if they want to. I guess the problem here, the complication here, is that in Next.js, you don't have such easy access to the current URL. Even today, like so many years later, Next.js makes it a bit harder to get the current URL and current path name. You have like the helper methods like use router or use whatever, you have those hooks. But with SvelteKit, you just have the page store always that has the URL, and you can do stuff there. And Milo says, cool that the images are by me. Yeah, I think that's quite cool. The only one that's not mine is this one that I've recently done, because it's not like an image. Just the logo of that next conference. But the other ones were mine. And most of them are London. London, Greenwich, like somewhere close. Don't quite remember. This is definitely the Greenwich clock. Has to be. Probably Brazil, Greece for this one. Tailwind CSS, like the fan early on. But yeah. So let me know if you think I should blog again. Should they blog about this, the Threads API, or something else? It's been a while since I wrote something. I mostly do the live streams and occasionally the shorter video. But maybe I was thinking it could be fun. And to to write the blog post and then just narrate it. But of course, my accent, like, would me reading an article make it more accessible or less accessible? Not sure. Milos is saying I can go to a trip and tax deduct since the purpose is to take pictures for the blog. Yeah, that'd be neat. I went to South Korea soon, and I was like, yeah, I needed to find like the specific. Or maybe like I did go to the demilitarized zone as well. So if you really stretch enough, you could say that I really wanted a picture of the border to like show the separation of front end to back end, like the words, or like React versus Svelte or something like that. So I really needed like this shot for my vision. So the whole trip gets expensed. That'd be neat. Usually the easiest thing would be that I live stream from wherever I go, and then immediately that's like work, or I do like a conference there, I have a talk there. I think that'd be neat. That's been a dream of mine, actually, like go to remote places around the world and do like a web dev workshop there. I think that'd be fun. But just going there to take pictures, much easier for me. No need to do prep, just need to have the camera ready and just snap some shots, and that's it. So from my part, easier. Separation of concerns. Yeah. All right. So I'm not going to talk about the interesting things and tunnels that I visited. Let's keep going with the bonus thing. Domains with the Cloudflare Registrar. So I've mentioned that all of this code and more you can get with JOHNNIFY Premium. And I did say that if someone signs up between the previous stream and this one, I would buy a domain for Trivia Train, as I'm wont to do, and so how to set things up with Fly. So that's what we're trying to do now. And this time, for variety, I didn't use Google Domains, which has been retired, and now it's Squarespace. I didn't use Vercel because we're not deploying to Vercel anyway. So I am using a very common suggestion to use Cloudflare Registrar. And the cool thing about it is that Cloudflare is not adding on a fee for buying a domain through them, which is pretty impressive. It's a model that I subscribe to, figuratively and literally, in that for like you don't make really, like, you can make a little money out of this, but not a considerable amount of money. And if you do things in good faith that most people find helpful, they find nice, they find neat, if you help people, if you enable people to experiment and do cool stuff, they're more likely to want to keep working with you. And at some point, one of these people are going to say to their company, they're going to convince a company to go with Cloudflare. And when it's an enterprise that is trying to make a deal with Cloudflare, then they can upsell to all sorts of things. So an example with Vercel, that maybe a company as big as Zoopla, you have enough people saying that Vercel just solves a lot of deployment issues and the preview deployments and all of that. So let's just migrate our stack to that and pay Vercel like a premium, but getting a lot of features there. That's all you need. Like, that's how Vercel can afford to keep the things for small developers at free or low cost. And it's the same with Cloudflare. If the same happens with Cloudflare and then some company says, oh, Zillow should migrate to Cloudflare, then just do that. And that's when they'll really like make money. That's where you can make millions per month. So the upmark tax of like $5 on a domain from a user, that's some money for sure. But I think that a company like Cloudflare or Vercel, where they can really make money, is by making those deals with the big companies. Anyway, huge aside, watch out for the registrars, because there are some that can initially get you like a small price when you first buy the domain, and then the renewal fee is like 3 times as much. So that's one of the ways they get you. But as it stands now, Cloudflare, no markup. So I wanted to try it and see how that goes. And indeed, I asked in the chat on Discord which one you preferred. And Sean kindly responded with triviatrain.app versus triviatrain.org. So that's the one I got. And it's now waiting to be configured to work with Fly. So Milos mentions Namecheap, GoDaddy, like you think that with a name like Namecheap, like how can they possibly be scamming me? But you know, it can happen. So watch out for the ones they're using. And they're not really scamming you. They're providing a service. What service are you providing? Easy access, I guess, to a domain, to buying a domain. Not really sure. You don't need much from a registrar, I guess is what I'm trying to say. There are quite a lot of upsells. They may tell you that, you know, they don't really do much. Anyway, too much fun aside. Great at scamming. What a line. Anyway, that's the one I used to buy a domain. Now, again, I've used Vercel a lot just for the easiness that in the dashboard you just say use this domain and that's fine. But they do have a markup as well, so watch out for that. And I've used Google Domains, but of course it's adding down for Squarespace, which also has a hefty markup too. So Cloudflare Registrar is the thing I found out and people are happy with, including Milos, it seems. I don't know if you've already used it for the domains that you have, but I've been liking it so far. So, long story short, we have a top-level domain. Currently, our app gets deployed to trivia-train.fly.dev. How do we get it deployed to the domain we just bought? Well, there are a couple of ways to do it. Both of them involve setting some DNS records. Easiest, I guess, they're saying is set a CNAME record. And most complicated one is setting the A record, and it's more complicated because you need to like list the IPs, I guess. Is this like complicated? Let's see. I'm gonna try to list the IP of this app. So I guess this one is the one we want. Do we need the v4 one or would v6 work? Either one. Maybe do it in a new window. Right, so we have this one. Let's see if it's just gonna work. And we need to set an A record for that. So in Cloudflare, which is our registrar or wherever you can set DNS to, so the registration. DNS records for this domain, and we want to add a record, an A record for root, point to a v4 address, they say. So I guess it would have to be this one. Created one a bit after original Christmas, they say, interestingly enough. How come it's not a v6 URL, a v6 address that they want? Who knows? So interestingly with Cloudflare is that you can proxy through Cloudflare itself, which gives you some extra DDoS protection and stuff like that. But we're not deploying to Cloudflare, so some of those things may not be helpful to us. v4 or v6 is a different type of address, which I'm not sure about, like how many bytes they're using, not sure. So on that one, I would need to look it up because I don't know enough. I know that in the past, like back in my day, we only had IPv4 addresses, and now we've switched to IPv6, but I'm not sure what it means. It could be a thing where now we have access to like more bits, and therefore we can have like more addresses. We ran out of v4 addresses, and now we just needed a protocol that allows for more addresses, and that's it. But I'm not sure. I would need to look it up before making stuff up for you. Anyway, it says IPv4 address, so let's see how that happens. So their domain, we wanted to resolve to this. Again, this is like a bit extra from Cloudflare. If you proxy through Cloudflare, it would give you some more DDoS that Fly doesn't really do when you deploy to Fly. But if you want the fastest, directest connection, then you just make it not go through the proxy. And point to fly app is what we'll say here, and see if it just works. And this should eventually propagate. Oh, it's the multiplayer record. Thanks for looking that up. There you go. That feels more legit. Can we remove this one? So let's see if it will actually work. Oh, it's trying to redirect, it says. I wonder why. I will unset the dub. Or what else do we have here? I have tried to do something clever with redirecting the dub to somewhere else. But maybe that's not exactly what we want. So let's do one thing at a time. Let's disable this. The other thing is that because it is an .app domain, it does need HTTPS certificate. It's one of those domains where you can only serve it through HTTPS. So even though you should be using HTTPS anyway, for a .app domain, you have to, like there is no other way to do this. And the way to create a certificate with, let's encrypt and fly. So Son says, in Italian, we have no actual phonetic sound for W in English. So you say v, dub. It's one of the funny things, anyway, that www is longer to say than World Wide Web. I guess dub is World Wide Web. It's like one syllable shorter, maybe. All right, so let's add a certificate here for triviatrain.app. It's saying, just don't use this. All right, so we found that out. We're talking about, do we need the proxy? I'm like, just turn it on. It offers like a bit extra DDoS protection and stuff. But I guess they're like, just don't do it, mate. Let's just try to resolve this and see what happens. I have set a limit to how much I'm willing to pay fly. So if something does happen and someone does try to DDoS me, it's not going to be too bad. And yeah, that's a cool instruction. Can I list all the certificates? What can I do then? Status ready, it says. Good. Still trying to give me the redirect dance for some reason. I shouldn't have any cookies in this domain, so I should just be able to get there. So there must be something I've set up, trying to be too clever. And yeah, let's remove this A record for redirects, which I tried to set up before. Anything else related to redirects? Delete this one. Delete this one. Still trying to redirect. The problem with DNS settings is that they do take some time to propagate. So the CNAME message from Fly was that if you're using the proxy, then you need to add the CNAME manually in order for the certificate challenge to happen. But I think that turning off the proxy just made this resolve, because it says the state of this is ready. So I imagine that we don't need to do the validation again, but maybe we do. So let's look this up. Oh. There you go. It's optional next steps, so I'm not sure. It says it's been issued, so I think we're fine. It doesn't say configure true, so maybe not. It doesn't give like instructions or anything. Issued, added, everything fine. So it should be fine. And this is the thing about the CNAME again. And this is a supported top-level domain, so we should be good. So I guess, and the app is still working, so I can only imagine that we've given it like the wrong record, the wrong address. So should we just be using we could try to use the CNAME trick and see if that actually works. Because is this like, is the v6 address like trying to redirect us through quite a few places? No, it should be correct. I think this had something about Anycast. Let's see. I remember a warning about Anycast, but I'm not sure. Like, I don't see it now, so maybe it's fine. Should be fine. Anything here with Anycast? Yeah, not sure what's going on. Anything else from the network? What is it trying to do here? We keep getting 301 redirects is what's happening. And then this kind of crashes. Why? In the app itself, we're not getting any 301. We're not, like in the deployed app, we're not doing any 301 redirects. So it must be something else. Haphazardly set up. Anyway, incognito window, it's the same thing. It redirects me. So what could it be? Oh, what's this? Page rule. Come on, Johnny. Shouldn't be related, but who knows? So no redirect rules, no bulk redirect rules, no page rules anymore. Ah, unreachable. Great. No redirects now. That's great. It's beautiful. It's saying that this is not a real thing, which is a different error. Now I'm getting redirects here. Try deleting your cookies. Maybe in Safari it works. Said no one ever. Oh. In Safari it works. Great. So yeah, I guess that it's some problem with like some redirects that will eventually resolve itself. It has happened. Something worked in Safari while it didn't work in the other browsers. Yeah, so maybe it will work for you. It should work for you eventually. But we're getting this. The other thing that I want to set up is for www to get you to the root domain. Because that's a good idea for SEO as well. Like usually you decide whether you want the www to be where you serve your app from or the root domain. And if you want the root domain to be your main one, then you redirect from www to the root domain or vice versa. I always think that why use more characters when few do trick. So I do prefer having this as the main domain and redirecting www to somewhere. But there must be some rules to set up so you can redirect like a /play to trivia train.app/play immediately. But we'll see if we'll do it at some point. It feels like we've managed to set this up. in a few days, Chrome will get up to speed with this too. What else do we want? We even did the certificate. Right, so redirecting www to your domain is something that I was planning to do, but now with the many redirects problem, I think that I must have messed something up there. So maybe that's not what I would like to mess with now, something I would mess with later. But yeah, what else can we do? We can only show this when we've finished with the quiz. Only saw this card when we finished with the quiz. Maybe instead of the answer form. Actually. So yeah, let's try to do that. Let's try to do that. So the idea is we're focusing the user into finishing the quiz to start with, and only after they're done, we're telling them, hey, you should share your results. Maybe we should commit this. So far, let's say share UI. That's what we've added. And here, maybe the share options. I guess, like, if you finish the quiz, then we don't show the form, but instead we show the share options. Okay, this is not there. What happens? Not bad. So how do we do that? The server endpoint here, we get the database quiz. Eventually, we derive the state of the quiz, which gives us all the messages that we have. And I guess this returns a next question, which sometimes is not defined. Oh, there's a problem here. This should never be null. Yeah, that's not null. What are you talking about? That's VS Code flip out. All right. So the next question, I can only imagine that sometimes it's not defined actually. Yeah, sometimes it's not defined. So on the interface, we can say this sometimes is not defined. Or what is this actually? Yeah, sometimes it's not defined. So here, we could say is quiz complete when we don't have a next question. The quiz is complete, and therefore in data there should be, is the dev server running? It feels like the magic code completion is not that magic currently. you can do it VS Code. You can figure it out. So the moment we return this, then Svelte magically updates some types here to tell us that this data has an quiz complete. And we can say if this, then show the answer form. It knows it's a Boolean, great, woke up. And maybe here, we saw the set options there. So we can go through the existing quiz and see how that would look. I guess we can give it like a different SER text if we really want to. Like how many questions you got correct or wrong, right? So that's the thing we're talking about, but we'll figure it out. So which city hosts the 2024 Summer Olympics? We've gone through this last time. Paris. Maybe 3 streams ago, actually. Players per beach volleyball team, 2. Map, reduce, filter. Common array methods in JavaScript. Which one can return a value that is not an array? Reduce can return anything. You type a URL in the browser and press enter. Which HTTP verb is used? Get. The crisis flag has 2 colors, white and blue. Let's see if blue heart would work. No. Answer is blue. Which continent has the most countries? It's Africa. You completed this 3-way journey, you scored 80 points. So this is the thing that we could have. And we see that the sharing is caring thing is coming up. So maybe... maybe this is the thing. Thinking this assistant message, this chat message, should we copy like the same animation? Maybe. I guess they're all cards. Maybe it should be another message, the sharing UI. Actually, that'd be fun. So that'd be quite interesting. Quite interesting indeed. So maybe that's what we'll do. So on the backend, listen, can't hear. Right. So what am I thinking? I'm thinking that one of the messages could be like a type share message, and then you give it the text, the share text. That could be fun. Have I defined what the messages are supposed to look like? Quiz message, like this. So it could be assistant user or share. Making this up as we go along. And then the content could be, I guess, the URL itself. Maybe not, just how you've done. We can do like a little reduce here. We can actually do a little reduce. So I think we're out of the questions loop here. And I guess we would do another loop. Can do it inside here. Maybe another loop. Clearly, when it's, the DNS redirects got me pulling my hair. I'm thinking. We have the score here, right? Yeah, so we could be doing the boxes as well. How many correct guesses we have? It's kind of interesting. It's like a method we should be TDDing, to be honest. So I want to say like 8 out of 10 correct, right? 8 out of 10 correct. Trivia train, 8 out of 10 correct. And then have like the tick marks and the crosses. Something like that. But in the UI, it means we need an else if here. And then we saw the share options. But the text is the text content. So when I copy the link here, it does give me the text content. Beautiful. With the link as well. Great. So we're kind of making it work, to be honest. What else would we need? The URL is this, the text is the content. Okay, so time to make it real, like these methods that I've hard coded. Let's make it dynamic according to how many questions you've answered correctly or not. And we could be doing like another loop here. Is that what we want? I think the answer is yes, that is what we want. If we set to threads, why? Not sure. Oh well. It's fine, a bug to fix. Emilus, thanks a bunch for all the engagement today. Hope you had fun, and we'll catch you later. Have fun at work as well. And hope you have a great weekend. We're almost done. So here the question is, should I be doing like another loop or not? share text. I'm thinking that we can start like this. Ah. It's just easier if we just reduce here and do another loop. Like no need, like the performance is fine. So let's look at the questions, I guess. This is an object. No, it's an array. Sorry. So let's reduce these questions. And we have an accumulator, which will doing something, and the accumulator will start with trivia train. Choo-choo. And then but no, because we don't know how many are correct. Harder than I thought, to be honest. We have the array of like correct and incorrect answers. Have the score. Guess we can have like the guess emojis, I guess. Let's we do this. Sure. And then we have like a correct count. Maybe all we need is the correct count, to be honest. Don't use this. So here the score would be correct count times 10. And here the content would be correct count out of questions length. The real thing. Quiz questions. And another new line, and then we have the guess emojis. And then yeah, that looks correct. Oh, I actually had a total of 10, which is kind of interesting, kind of fun. All right, I think we did it. You can copy this link, you can set the threads which the emojis don't work. Maybe there's another way to escape them, not sure. But that should be it for now, for what we want to do. Son says that you sign off, but you also blogged about your progress on the Discord channel. Please, I'm gonna read it, of course, later. But I do invite everyone who's into the Discord channel. There are some fun discussions there, and sometimes you may see a discussion and then a direct thread to a video or a live stream that I've made right after because I was inspired. Or I was wondering about something. How do you actually do something like this? Or I want to do something like this. So that's quite fun. Quite fun indeed. And whether it's almost done, I'm not sure because I'm thinking like a roguelike mode with like random questions that goes on forever, changing lines where you say, oh, Piccadilly line or blue line, and this is geography questions, or you can go green line and then it's like nature questions, red line and it's like video game questions. I don't know. That could be fun. But yeah, I won't extend this forever. Next project will probably be a CMS app, something that needs more of a CMS, like Sanity, for example, because people want it. But as always, also suggest what you'd like to see, and we may do it as well. But I think for today, this could be it. So I don't think I have any errand logs here. And we've made these changes about the correct count, the emojis, and we've introduced this concept of like a share message. So maybe we should call it share message actually instead of share options. But maybe not. I did manage to give this like the same background as a card, like these. So that kind of worked out. So I think what remains is to deploy. You scored 80 points. We could also say you scored 80 points. Could also say the amount of questions here so you know, but you see it when you do threads. Or we could have like a pop-up that says something nicer. Like according to how many you got correct or what was your percentage, then you get a different mark. But anyway, that's for a different day. I think we've done quite a bit. So let's push this and see what happens. Let's see if the Google DNS is resolving by now. No. It's unreachable eventually, which is interesting. What do I need to clear for this to happen? Who knows? We'll figure it out. But on Safari, this works. And I guess the final demo will be there. Do I have another Safari window? No, this is it. Playing it on Safari may show other things that may be missing as well. So we'll see. Let's go to the GitHub to see if the production has happened, deployment has happened. Not yet. It's happening though. So once that happens, we'll do our final demo. And that's going to be it. The redirects is something I will have to look into offline, because sometimes with the necessary records, you need to just let them propagate. And it's not that exciting to wait for records to propagate. Production deployment supposedly worked. Uh, I guess the trivia train .fly.dev will always work, but the question is, well, I'm not gonna check again. I am, but it's not gonna work. But let's play on Safari. Actually, so spoiler alert, I'm gonna answer the questions here, and it's an Odyssey themed quiz. So first question is, Odysseus is originally from which Greek island? The answer is the island that my dad was from. Ithaki or Ithaca. I could be typing this in Greek. Which war did Odysseus famously play a critical part in? And the answer is the Trojan War, as seen in the Iliad. How many years in total was Odysseus away from home until his return depicted in the Odyssey? So the Trojan War itself was about 10 years, and then the return journey for Odysseus specifically because he angered Poseidon. Like, of all the gods to forget to appease before your return journey by sea, like, did you really have to forget Poseidon? I think that was like not to victim blame, but that was a bit of a blunder from the most cunning man in Greece. So anyway, 10 plus 10 is 20 years. Who's the poet who wrote the Odyssey? It's of course Homer. What's the name of the Cyclops Odysseus encounters? So this one, I will attempt to write in Greek. His name is Polyphemus. I don't know how to spell it in English. What's the name of the witch who allegedly turns men into pigs? Odysseus encounters. So Odysseus encounters this enchantress in a specific island. It all seems nice and good. There's some flirting going on as usual in these stories. But there is bad fate accounting all men. Some people that say this was like alleged, like not that Circe, Kirke, didn't literally turn men into pigs, but it's like metaphorically, like I guess it made them lazy, just eating, sloppy, like something like that. Which is quite fun that even then we had these analogies, I think. Odysseus has to choose between two sea monsters. Name either of them. So it's actually an expression in English. I think a common one, a common equivalent one is choosing between the rock and a hard place, or a rock and a hard place, something like that. But in Greek, we do say μεταξύ σκύλας and Charybdis. So let's go for Charybdis. This is correct. And what's the name of the nymph that holds Odysseus captive for 7 years? So the biggest part of the return journey was being held, was Odysseus being held captive by Calypso. Oof. So ChatGPT thought that I made a mistake there. Maybe because I used the Greek K. So I should tweak this. Like Calypso is like the Greek name. So I should have used the Greek name, to be honest. But if anyone says Calypso like this and then gets a rejection, then I don't know. They should be upset. It's mea culpa, my fault. Sorry. Just tweak this. What's the name of Odysseus' wife? It's Penelope. And what's the name of Odysseus' Odysseus's dog? Argos. Argos. So we got this. Oh, interesting. We got this as an answer there. How? Interesting. Is it because we changed from this component to the other? Maybe. So share, you can see that in Safari it actually does put up the share UI, which is quite fun. Which is something we didn't see in Chrome. That's cool. I guess it's not going to work. But fly.dev. Oh, we'd need to go through it again, which I'm not going to. But that's cool. Like if we use it on the phone, we'll see the nice source it as well there. Pretty neat. And if we start to threads, I'd need an account, sadly. But I guess we'd have to trust that it would look kind of nice. Feel free to try it yourself and let me know how it goes. I think was the problem the switch between not showing this UI and showing this UI, like the removing the form, was that the thing that made it weird? Let's try again. Something that I did do offline, I did finish up creating new quizzes for anyone now, so it's open to anyone. Is that true? No. The answer is not true. So even here, I think I don't need this anymore. No redirects for anyone that's not me. I think anyone should be able to use this. So live, I'm going to be opening this up to anyone. They can create their own quizzes and oops. Somehow you're not logged in. It's what we want to say. It's been doing it quite a few times. No user ID, redirect login. So this, great. All right, so everyone has this UI to create their own quizzes, even though it's only mine that get highlighted. Why I'm doing this? Because I want to add like a simple quiz. Does the share UI work? Yes. The stream ending soon. So create this new quiz. You can create your own quizzes and share it with others. And let's see. The answer is yes. Stream ending soon. So it works just fine now. So did I manage to like submit like a couple things together, or is it like a weird Safari bug? Who knows? Looks like it's correct. But let's say that open up quiz creation to everyone. So something we did live. I did work on this over the week from our previous live stream. We were doing like these forms, finishing up the edit forms, the edit quiz UI, being able to delete quizzes, which also works with no confirmation. So what's out? You press this button, bam, gone, no undo, no nothing. Maybe that's something to like do in the future, but what's out? But you can create your own quizzes if you'd like, which could be fun. Right, so I think this is gonna be it for today. Oh, I did have this. I think this is gonna be it indeed. So we're winding down. This is gonna be it. Give it a play. I'll add a new quiz soon. Let me switch to big head mode. Because the tree is flopping in the wind quite nicely. So in the description, links for everything, including to the app that we've just redeployed. I will update the link to also include trivia train.app, but after I make it work on my Google Chrome at least. I think it's a DNS error. If you do go there and it works, just let me know. Does it currently work? I think I was messing around with like redirects, and I have only myself to blame. But other than that, we did quite a few things. Today, the share stuff, especially if you have a blog, super helpful. But again, like, don't get SEO advice from just anyone that is saying the same things for 15 years that they didn't even know it ever worked. Modern things that are important for a site to get SEO power is, are people sharing it on socials? Are people clicking through and get it to it from threads, from Twitter, from wherever else? So having a great favicon open graph image that entices people to click, having a nice copy text is something that plays a part, but also ensuring that people who have fun with your app share it, and then they share a link that shows a nice graphic that entices other people to play. That's critical. Put effort in that. And these are exactly the things that we tried today. And also we did the Cloudflare and Fly song and dance in order to be able to serve our HTTPS site from the new domain we bought because someone converted to JOHNNIFY Premium. Lots of happy JOHNNIFY Premium org members by now. All right, so that's it. It's been a pleasure as always to code alongside with you. Special thanks to everyone in the chat for keeping me extra company and lovely questions to keep me busy. This is going to be it for this week. Catch you all on Tuesday. Have an amazing weekend and time until then. Bye bye.